Traditional readings of Genesis categorize the opening verses as poetic metaphor, a sequence of spoken words. However, applying the laws of fluid mechanics to the text reveals a sequence of thermodynamic crystallization, where divine will transitions from an unmanifested state into a pressurized system of matter. This framework, the hydraulics of decree, treats the sovereign decree of the Creator as an absolute, unyielding physical pressure. Within this system, we define the primary variable as P sub s, or sovereign pressure. When we define P sub s as the first cause, the doctrines of Reformed Presbyterianism, specifically total depravity and effectual calling, function as mechanical descriptions of a metaphysical fluid system. This mechanical architecture aligns with the structural patterns found in Comedian and traditional West African cosmologies, where the universe begins with a highly compressed seed or vibrating void. Evaluating these ancient records through the lens of conceptual physics transforms the narrative from a moral fable into a schematic of metaphysical mechanics. To establish a baseline for the universe before the division of the space-time continuum, we examine the state of the Godhead as time approaches zero. The model begins with an uncreated essence existing in absolute self-contained compression. This state is represented by equation 1. We calculate the limit of sovereign pressure as time approaches zero, identifying infinite density. This integral proves all secondary causes and cosmic polarities, variables Vm, Vf, and phi e, existed within the singular decree before their temporal manifestation. The Bambara people describe this state as the silent void of Lankalo, while Dogon cosmology terms it the highly compressed cosmic egg of Amma. Both represent an unmanifested potentiality that contains the archetypal blueprint of all cosmic history. This primordial void held an unexpressed density that encompassed the entirety of cosmic history within a singular, timeless act. The command, "Let there be light," marks the energetic bifurcation of the singular divine pressure. This is the moment when the unmanifested density splits into two opposing cosmic vectors, force and container. We define the first vector as Vm, the actuating masculine vector. It represents structural active force, mirroring the Comedian god of air, Shu, and the Kabbalistic seed of wisdom, Chakma. The second vector is Vf, the receptive feminine vector. This is the materializing matrix that absorbs and contains the active force. This dualistic polarity is illustrated in this ancient Comedian relief of Shu and Tefnut, the dual vectors required to organize space and cohesive matter. These vectors achieve equilibrium through pneumatic compulsion, phi e. This force applies the hydrostatic pressure required to prevent the raw energy of creation from dissolving back into chaotic radiation. This relationship forms equation 2, the covenant of works. It defines the unfallen human as a three-chambered vessel of mind, body, and soul, designed to channel the pressure of the Creator through a stable, constant equilibrium. This design produced a friction-free hydraulic system, allowing the human vessel to bear the weight of divine law without internal leakage. The narrative of Genesis 3 describes the failure of this system.
Stripped of moralism, the entry of sin is a catastrophic decompression event where the covenantal seal of the soul is ruptured. This rupture is driven by a new variable, μf, the deviant friction coefficient. It represents the rise of independent, individualistic self-will within the vessel. This coefficient is personified in Dogon cosmology by the rebel Ogo, whose premature escape from the cosmic egg introduced discord and cosmic friction into the universe. Equation 3 shows the result of this friction. As deviant self-will increases, it undermines the covenant of works constant, causing a systemic rupture. The internal pressure seal cracks, and the gauge drops to zero as fluid leaks out, a mechanical state identified as total depravity. The first cause responded to this leakage with a global water purge. The flood of Genesis 6 was a massive hydrostatic operation designed to wash away corrupted frictional elements and restore the cosmic boundaries between the heavens and the earth. In this mechanical model, sin is a thermodynamic glitch, an expansion of self-will that shatters the internal physics of the soul. Because a ruptured hydraulic system cannot generate its own internal pressure to fix a leak, restoration requires the injection of an external pressure regulator. This regulator is equation 4, the covenant of grace. The integral relies on psi med, the mediatorial hydrostatic constant. This constant functions as a pressure shield. It absorbs the crushing weight of divine justice, represented by P sub s, while simultaneously neutralizing the internal friction of human corruption. Redemptive grace is a recalibration of human physics, using a mediator to absorb external weight and stabilize internal pressure. The remainder of Genesis applies this restoration protocol to sequentially repair the 3 chambers of the vessel: mind, body, and soul. In the life of Abraham, the protocol targets the mind. Justification acts to stabilize the internal friction of human logic, aligning the patriarch's intellect with the sovereign pressure of the Creator. Phase 2 targets the physical body through the patriarch Jacob. Here, progressive sanctification manifests as a grueling, intense somatic confrontation. Jacob's wrestling at the river Jabbok resulted in a permanent limp, a physical representation of the grinding away of self-reliance to ensure the subordination of the body to the first cause. The protocol concludes with the soul of Joseph. Subjected to the alternating pressures of the pit and the prison, his soul achieved a state of sovereign equilibrium, remaining perfectly sealed despite external conditions. This patriarchal sequence serves as a schematic for rebuilding the tripartite equilibrium shattered in Eden. This equilibrium is expressed in Joseph's final realization in Genesis 50a: God meant it unto good. In Reformed Providence, this describes the first cause operating through secondary agents. A fully stabilized soul recognizes the Creator operates seamlessly even through the frictional actions of others, resolving chaos into a law-governed cosmic order. By engaging the text through these mechanical and cosmological matrices, we uncover a foundational truth. Reality is a pressurized thermodynamic architecture, governed by the immutable physics of its creator.